Have you ever looked at your pay stub and felt a physical knot in your stomach? You know that exact moment. You worked the overtime, you ground through the weekends, you finally got that promotion you've been fighting for all year. You open up the envelope or check the direct deposit app, and, where did it all go? You see these massive chunks bitten out of your money by federal tax, state tax, Medicare, Social Security. It feels like you're running on a treadmill that keeps speeding up, but you're not actually moving forward. You're giving away 30, maybe 40% of your time and energy to the government before the money even hits your checking account. That is the reality for 99% of us. We trade our time for a paycheck, and the tax man stands right in the middle, swinging a giant axe at our money before we even get to touch it.
But here is the thing that nobody tells you in school. The people at the very top, the 1%, the ultra-wealthy, the names you see dominating the Forbes lists, they don't feel that knot in their stomach. In fact, legally, entirely within the bounds of the law, they are paying close to 0% in income tax. And no, they aren't smuggling cash in suitcases to offshore islands or doing anything you see in a Hollywood heist movie. They are using a terrifyingly simple, totally legal mathematical formula that is written in plain sight in the tax code. It's a wealth framework called buy, borrow, die. Let's draw this out on the board so you can actually see the matrix we are living in. Picture two guys. On the left, we have you. Let's draw you with a briefcase, working your 9 to 5, doing everything society told you to do. You make 100 grand a year in salary. Congratulations, you are getting absolutely hammered by income tax brackets. If you get a raise, you just get pushed into a higher bracket and punished for working harder. On the right, we have a billionaire. Let's give him a little top hat just to be cliche. Now, the billionaire doesn't have a salary. Elon Musk, for a long time, famously took a salary of exactly $0. Mark Zuckerberg takes a $1 salary. Why? Because income is the most highly taxed money on the face of the earth. The billionaire has assets, stocks, real estate, fine art, businesses. They spend their money acquiring things that go up in value over time. That is step one, buy. Now you might be looking at the board and thinking, okay, that's great. They buy a bunch of Amazon or Tesla stock, but when they want to buy a mega yacht or a private jet, they have to sell that stock, right? And when they sell it, they have to pay capital gains tax. Well, yeah, if they sold them, but they don't sell them. Ever. Because the moment you sell an asset, you trigger a tax event, and rich people hate tax events more than anything else in the world. Selling an asset means giving 20% of your profits straight to the government. It interrupts the compounding interest. It stops the money machine.
So if they aren't selling their assets, how do they buy the yachts? How do they buy the mansions? How do they actually buy groceries? This brings us to step two, and this is where the psychology of the middle class is completely backwards. Borrow. We are taught from day one that debt is inherently bad. Credit cards are bad. Personal loans are bad. Debt is a trap that keeps you poor. And for the middle class who use debt to consume depreciating assets like TVs and overpriced cars, it absolutely is a trap. But for the ultra-wealthy, debt is not a trap. Debt is literally a magic wand that makes taxes disappear. Look at it this way. If you go to a bank and ask for a $50,000 personal loan to go on a luxury vacation, the bank is going to laugh you out of the lobby or charge you 20% interest. But if our billionaire walks into a bank with $1 billion in company stock, they say, hey, I need $100 million in cash to play with. Hold on to my stock as collateral. The bank is thrilled. This is the safest loan in the world for them. They give the billionaire a massive line of credit at an incredibly low interest rate, sometimes 1 or 2%. And here is the most important sentence in this entire video, the concept that separates the wealthy from everyone else. The IRS does not tax debt. Let me say that again so it really sinks in. Loans are not considered income. So the billionaire gets $100 million in cold hard cash deposited into their checking account, entirely tax-free. They use that tax-free cash to buy the yacht, fund their lifestyle, and invest in even more assets. Meanwhile, the stock they left at the bank as collateral is growing at 8, 9, or 10% a year. The growth of their assets vastly outpaces the tiny 2% interest they are paying on the loan. They are literally making money by borrowing money. This isn't theory. A few years ago, a massive leak of IRS data by ProPublica revealed the true tax rates of the 25 richest Americans. The numbers were sickening. Their true tax rate was a staggering 3.4%. Some years, the wealthiest individuals on the planet paid absolute zero in federal income taxes. Zero. While you paid a third of your paycheck just to exist, they just borrow against their assets, pay a tiny fraction of a percent in interest, and live like kings. But wait, you're smart, you're looking at this whiteboard, and you're probably saying, eventually they have to pay that loan back, right? The debt doesn't just vanish into thin air. The Grim Reaper comes for everyone.
Actually, the debt kind of does vanish. And that brings us to the darkest, most fascinating part of the strategy. Step 3, die. This entire system is held together by a tax loophole called the stepped-up basis, and it is the absolute holy grail of generational wealth. It is the reason old money stays old money. Let's look at the math. Let's say our billionaire bought stock for $10 million way back in the day, and over his life, it grew to a massive $1 billion. If he was forced to sell it while he was alive to pay back his loans, he would owe taxes on that $990 million of pure profit. The government would take hundreds of millions of dollars. But if he holds on to that stock until the day he dies and passes it down to his kids, the IRS does something magical. They step up the cost basis of the stock to its value on the day he died. Meaning, in the eyes of the government, it is exactly as if the kids bought that stock for $1 billion today. That $990 million of taxable profit that the father built up over his lifetime, poof! Wiped from existence, erased from the ledgers. The kids inherit $1 billion in stock completely tax-free. They can immediately sell off just enough of that newly tax-free stock to pay back their dad's original bank loan. They get to keep the remaining hundreds of millions of dollars untouched by the IRS, and what do? They restart the cycle. They buy more assets, they borrow against them, and they wait to die. Buy, borrow, die. It is essentially like owning a magic apple orchard. You buy the orchard, the trees grow and produce millions of beautiful apples. If you pick the apples and sell them at the market, the government takes half your apples as a tax, so instead you go to the bank and say, "Look at all my beautiful apples on these trees. Lend me some cash, and if I don't pay you back, you can have some apples." You live off the bank's money tax-free. Your apples keep growing. When you pass away, your kids inherit the entire orchard. The government magically forgets the apples ever grew in the first place, and your kids use a few apples to pay off the bank. The orchard stays in the family forever, growing bigger and bigger, while the people buying apples at the markets are taxed into poverty.
So, where does this leave you and me? It's easy to get angry looking at this. We aren't billionaires. We can't walk into Goldman Sachs, slam our briefcases on the desk, and demand a $100 million portfolio line of credit to buy a private island. But understanding this psychology completely changes how you should view your own money. The biggest mistake the middle class makes is obsessing over income. We are programmed to want a higher salary, a better hourly rate, a bigger holiday bonus. But as we've established, income is the most highly penalized money on the planet. If you want to escape the trap and build actual wealth, you have to shift your focus from generating income to acquiring assets. You can actually use micro versions of the buy, borrow, die strategy in your own life right now. First, you have to stop selling your assets prematurely. If you are investing in index funds, real estate, or stocks, let them compound. Stop trading in and out of the market trying to make a quick buck, because every time you do, you trigger short-term capital gains taxes, which are absolutely brutal. You are resetting your compound interest clock to zero and feeding the taxman. Hold your assets. Be the billionaire hoarding the apple orchard. Second, understand how to leverage the assets you do have instead of selling them. If you own a home, building equity in that house is your version of the billionaire's stock portfolio. Instead of selling a house to get cash, which triggers massive realtor fees, closing costs, and potential taxes, wealthy middle-class people use home equity lines of credit, or HELOCs, to access tax-free capital. They borrow against the house to fix the roof, or better yet, to invest in a secondary income-producing asset, like a rental property. Even some standard online stock brokerages now allow regular investors to take margin loans against their stock portfolio for surprisingly low rates. If you have $50,000 sitting in an S&P 500 index fund and you desperately need $5,000 for a massive medical emergency or a home repair, you have two choices. You could sell the stock, trigger capital gains tax, lose your future compounding interest, and permanently shrink your wealth. Or you could borrow that $5,000 against your portfolio. It might cost you a few bucks a month in interest, but your $50,000 stays invested, continuing to grow and outpace the cost of the loan. You just executed a micro buy, borrow, die maneuver. Look, the game is rigged. There is no denying it. The tax code was written by people who own assets, designed specifically to protect people who own assets while extracting maximum value from people who trade their time for a wage. But sitting around being frustrated about it won't put a single dollar back in your checking account. The rules are right there on the whiteboard in front of you. You just have to stop playing checkers while the wealthy are playing chess. Stop focusing your entire life's energy on how to trade your time for a paycheck that gets chopped in half. Start focusing on how to buy, build, and hold assets that the government cannot legally touch. Don't sell the orchard. Borrow the apples.
If this video helped shift your mindset today, hit the like button so this information can reach others. Also, drop a comment below with the biggest realization you had today, and subscribe to keep mastering these money psychology rules. As always, this is to inform you in a responsible, educational way, not to provide financial advice. See you in the next one.